I fear that I am deceiving myself in studying only my father's achievements in war. As king, I must be both a warrior and a statesman, just as he was. Drawing inspiration from the legendary stories of King Arthur, Edward grew from a deceitful and duplicitous youth into a pious and chivalrous ruler respected throughout Christendom. My father implemented economic, administrative, and legal reforms that strengthened and stabilized his kingdom. His borrowing of Byzantine concepts led him to be known as the English Justinian. Yet to Edward, this was just another part of ruling effectively, and everything that he did furthered his fierce desire to rule over all of Britain. When Alexander III of Scotland died without a male heir, that ambition suddenly seemed within reach. My father first strove to marry Alexander's young granddaughter, Margaret, to me, the heir apparent to England. When she died, unexpectedly, just a year later, Edward instead installed John Balliol as king in Scotland. The proud Scots would not suffer themselves to be ruled by an English puppet, whose master sought to conscript them into war with France. Instead, they allied themselves with the French and rose in open rebellion. Edward's fury was unbridled. If Balliol could not hold his subjects in line, my father would seize Scotland by force.
Take two and set this siege swiftly. I want Berwick taken before word of our advance crosses the Firth and brings an army of frenzied rebels.
Cretan chopper.
King Edward! There is no need for English troops on Scottish air. Please, strike your tents and allow me to bring my rebellious subjects back into line.
That oath-breaking weasel Balliol is just itching to betray me. Send scouts to the River Forth, and keep watch for dust and banners.
Ready, gather her.
Ready.
Hold him, hold him. Mandatum.
I ask this of you one more time, Edward. Depart Berwick and leave this matter to me.
Hold him.
Your ruthless incursions leave me no option but to raise Scotland against you. We, Albinich, shall take back what is ours!
Yea, Batal, ready. Yea.
Bulden.
Traitorous wretch! I shall force him to his knees and strip the sigil from his coat.
Ready. Correctus. Dich. Yea. Dich. Greater.
Scots crown their kings on an old stone in
Mandatum.
Scone Monastery. Were we to
Ready.
seize it,
Dich.
that fool Balliol would lose all legitimacy before his bannermen. Pierce the hide of the wyvern now. Push forth dauntlessly and set fire to the camp.
Alas, I am ruined and my forces crushed. I place myself within your power, King Edward.
Sane.
The stone of Skun is lost.
Salve. Ein.
Woe that I should live to endure such shame.
I care not for boiling oil, nor for barbed bolts. Steady on, and press the assault on those infernal walls. Berwick is ours. Put the garrison to the sword, and sack the town without mercy.
Father was unspeakably cruel to the Scots. In retribution for an attack on Carlisle, he seized and sacked the wealthy town of Berwick, slaughtering some 20,000 inhabitants. Baliol, the puppet that Edward had installed as king in Scotland, proved himself a traitor. He marched the Scottish army south against the English, but it was viciously drubbed at the Battle of Dunbar. Begging for mercy, Baliol capitulated to Edward, who scornfully stripped him of his coat of arms. This disgrace earned him the moniker Toom Tabard, empty coat. As a final humiliation, Edward seized the coronation stone from the monastery in Scone and placed it in a chair in Westminster Abbey. That hallowed stone of Scone, a symbol of Scottish royalty, shall now sanctify the destiny of an undying line of English kings. The Scots did not take their humbling well. A year after Baliol's defeat, they rallied around the fiery knight William Wallace and poured out of the Highlands like rabid wolves. Wallace was said to be a 7-foot-tall giant who lopped off the heads of horses and men with a 5.5-foot sword. A barbaric match for my own ferocious father. After a string of unexpected victories, Wallace's rebels were scattered at the Battle of Falkirk and forced into hiding. Like a vengeful spectre, he continued to harry English troops and convoys from the shadows. Undaunted, Edward and his commander, Aymer de Valence, approached Stirling Castle. Accompanying them was Robert the Bruce, a Scottish lord sworn to Edward, but known to covet the Scottish crown. Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer, as the ancient adage goes. Taking after his famed predecessor, Richard the Lionheart, he ordered the construction of a massive set of trebuchets near the walls of Stirling. His warning to the defenders was simple and dreadful. Surrender, or face bombardment more ferocious than a rain of hellfire and brimstone. This
infernal castle has held out long enough. I will build the largest trebuchet that Europe has ever seen. Earl Aymer, double the guard and protect the engineers while they gather wood and stone for the weapon.
Yes, ik willen. Ready. Yay.
The Scots are making a sally against our builders. To arms! Rain arrows on the villains!
Ik willen. Yes. Mandatum. Ready. Yay. Yes. Batal. Yes. Batal. Batal. Fight. Batal. Yay. Mandatum. Ready. Fight. Yay. Mandatum. Yay. Batal.
The churls have gathered the materials that they need. Assemble the trebuchet without delay!
Magnificent. A true Ludgar. Warwolf, I dub it. The pitiful garrison shall quiver in fear, while Warwolf hurls boulders at Stirling's walls.
Mandatum. Fight. Yay. Ready. Yes. Batal. Mandatum. Fight. Ready. Batal. Yes. Batal.
No quarter, I say. Dispatch the doomed men and post loyal Englishmen in Stirling Castle. Robert the Bruce and John Coomin. Behold the grim fate of traitors. You would do well to remember it. Off with you now.
Aye. Duly noted. Farewell, King Edward.
There remains one traitor yet to hang. Muster our forces and bring me the head of William Wallace.
Yes.
Wallace is all that holds his army together. Strike off the head, and the serpent falls writhing to the fallow earth, my liege.
Cretan, yours.
Correctus. Sane.
Mandatum.
Sane.
My lord,
Correctus.
we have word that Robert the Bruce has murdered John Coomin and laid claim to the Scottish crown.
No longer will dear Scotland suffer under the yoke of English tyranny! Elvegaberath!
I would ride north to punish the scoundrel myself, if not for my failing health. I place you in command of this campaign, Earl Aymer.
My lord, shall your son, the Prince of Wales, lead the forces with me?
My son? Huh. The mere sight of that craven would only make the Scots confident of victory. I trust you alone with my armies,
Ready,
Earl
yea,
Aymer.
gather.
I will not fail you, Lord King.
Grayton? Correctus. Yay.
I ran Coomin through with my blade before the altar of a church. Perhaps I shall celebrate my coronation by doing the same to you, Longshanks.
Yay, yours. Bolden. Bolden. Ready. Bolden. Bolden. Bolden.
English knights are no match for proud Scottish infantry. Our Shiltrons will skewer your chivalrous hosts.
Ready. Correct.
You dare speak of chivalry, false king who murdered a lord in a church? The devil will have you.
Dick Willem. Yay, Dick Willem. Man correct. Yours. Olden, 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 Olden. Olden.
Put down your longbows, English cravens, and face proud Highland warriors in the battle line like real men.
The English are attacking us in the dead of night! Take up your weapons, bold Albinach!
We have won a glorious victory, King Edward. The Scottish forces are routed, and Robert the Bruce flees to the Highlands with his tail between his legs.
To Wallace's corpse, and send the remains to all corners of Scotland. Let this stand as a warning to any who might aspire to play the rebel.
Wallace's forces scatter like chaff to the wind. Where is their furious, foolhardy spirit now?
Let him call himself King of the Outlaws if he should so desire. His skulking followers shall whisper of me in terror as the Hammer of the Scots.
William Wallace's body was butchered, and his remains were scattered across Scotland as a grim warning to any who might fancy themselves a heroic rebel. Yet the effect was the opposite of what my father hoped for. The dying embers of rebellion were kindled into a raging flame as the treacherous Robert the Bruce renounced his vassalage and raised his banners. With his last war still raging, my father, the mighty King of England and Hammer of the Scots, passed away. England is now mine to rule, his vision mine to fulfill, or to squander. Robert the Bruce remains a threat, and unrest brews throughout England. Even my own barons openly show their contempt and demand that my powers be diminished. I have studied all that my father did, and still the task at hand terrifies me. He faced every adversity and grew to be a great king. Yet I already feel my soul buckling under the weight of the crown. I am king now. But what king shall I be? Should I be deceptive, as my father was in his youth? Should I be the pious and chivalrous administrator? Or brutal to no end, the new hammer of the Scots? However can a man become so great as to fulfill all of these roles? I fear that there is no answer. Even so, when I stand by my father's tomb, the fear and the shame sometimes sweep aside. Deep within me, I know that whatever else I must try, I must fight for my crown, my kingdom, and for my father's legacy. I will not fail you, Father.